Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for those of you that are watching me live, and for those of you that maybe you're catching this afterwards, after it's been recorded and loaded, thanks for taking the time to watch this. So, many of you probably know we've been doing these Friday live streams for the last couple of months with the main focus of the Russia-Ukraine conflict and how it relates to you and your cyber safety. And we've been talking about the news and things related to that. And we've decided, I talked about this last week on the live stream, we've decided to make a shift here and shift away from talking about Russia and Ukraine and focus more on Nevada and the businesses here in the great state of Nevada. So this will be the first of our new live stream series. We're still going to do them every Friday at 1 p.m. We're going to be streaming them on our social media pages, so you can keep an eye out for us on there. And we're going to be discussing tech, cybersecurity, and other things that are currently affecting businesses within Nevada and within the United States. We're going to be discussing these different topics, giving some solutions, some tips, some suggestions, and then answering questions. So if any of you watching live would like to have any technical questions answered, anything related to cybersecurity or IT in general, that's what this is for. We want to be out here and known that we're here to help you and get your questions answered. So today we're going to talk a little bit about a cybersecurity risk assessment and why your small business needs it. So a lot of things have changed in the last couple of years, just since the pandemic, and you may not realize some of the stuff that's going on out there in the cyberspace. And I'm going to do what I can and my team to help educate others and make them aware of these things. But the best thing to do to make yourself aware of your risk in your business is to have a cybersecurity risk assessment performed. And what this will do is help you be aware of the risk so that you can plan accordingly. And we've got an upcoming webinar. I'll talk about it in a little bit. We have a webinar coming up in May where we're going to be talking in depth about this. But I wanted to talk at a high level here today about it. So there's a lot of cyber risk out there for businesses in Nevada and businesses in the United States in general. And a business owner can't truly make a decision on what steps to take to protect against that risk unless that risk is known. And some of the things that the cyber risk assessment can help expose in risk is what are the possible scenarios, the issues that your business could have if it doesn't take cybersecurity as a consideration in its practices. So a couple things, right? I'm going to go through a list here. There's a website that I came across that had an interesting list of 12 potential consequences of data breaches, right, related to your cyber risk. I disagreed with some of them, but I want to talk about the ones that I feel are the biggest risk for businesses in general. So one, and this is in no particular order, right? So one, you could lose or compromise your customers' data. Right? If a hacker gains access to your customers' data, whether it's credit card data or other information, right? That's a real risk out there if it's not being protected properly. Two, you could put your employees' data at risk. Identity theft is a real big thing. I was a victim of identity theft several years ago related to one of the government data breaches. And it had a big impact on my life. And it was very time consuming for me to overcome some of the issues related to that. And so if you have a breach in your employees' data, their phone number, their address, their full name, their birth date, their social security number, right? These are critical pieces of information for identity theft. If hackers get their hands on that, right, now your employees are going to have a lot of issues potentially. The next thing is you could be in violation of laws and regulations. So if you're in healthcare, finance, there's other sectors related to government. If you're contracting with the Department of Defense or any of the military, then you have CMMC requirements that are coming up. And so you may not even be aware of some of your violations. And if you ever were audited, then you could find yourself in some serious trouble with some serious fines. You could also be, this is the next one, you could also be putting your intellectual property or trade secrets at risk. You have unique processes that make your business succeed. And if that information were exposed on the internet for anybody, you could potentially lose your competitive advantage in your industry. Another one, you could suffer damaging downtime, right? And there's lots of different things that could lead to this downtime, from viruses to denial of service attacks, ransomware, or other cyber-related outages, right? So if these outages happen, how are you going to survive as a business? And statistics show that a lot of businesses struggle to overcome that, and many of them end up going out of business. Another one, you could risk physical data loss. So if you don't have proper protections in place and you get hit with ransomware, are you going to be able to recover that data, or is it going to be gone forever? And finally, and this might be the one that's the hardest to quantify, right? It could damage your reputation. A lot of times, there are laws within the state of Nevada and laws being discussed at the federal level requiring notifications of a data breach. And so if it became publicly known that, hey, you had a data breach and your customer's data was exposed, how is that going to impact you and your ability to maintain your existing clients and get new clients? So that's another very real risk for businesses within the state of Nevada. There are some solutions. As I mentioned at the beginning, I think the first step for any business owner should be to get a cybersecurity risk assessment. What that is it helps to expose that risk so that the decisions can be made. And you can partner with a cybersecurity professional such as myself and my team at Internal Networks to assist you with that. You can also, if you have internal technical resources, there are tools and stuff available out there that they can perform their own cyber risk. But it's important to know that it's not just looking is Windows up to date, is the Mac operating system up to date. Is every program running on that system up to date. It goes way deeper than what a lot of people may assume. So I mentioned this earlier, we're going to have an in-depth dive of what a cybersecurity risk assessment looks like, what questions it'll answer, and how it can help businesses in our upcoming webinar. It's going to be on May 12th at 1 p.m. And we're going to be talking a lot about what's changed, right? We're going to talk about the types of attacks that have increased in the last 2 or 3 years, and how it's impacting small businesses. And then we're going to talk about how a cybersecurity risk assessment can help expose that risk and provide the steps necessary to mitigate that risk and to improve your overall cyber resilience. Hopefully you guys can all join us on that live webinar. Looking to see if we have any comments or questions. Let's see here what we got here. Oh, I'll make sure to post in the comments below a link to register for that live webinar. So any of you would like to join us, the link will be below. I'll mention it in our future live streams and other stuff as well. We'll be posting other links about it. So if you can't find this video later, there'll be other opportunities to register, but don't forget to register and join us next month. Let's see, what else have we got here? Any other comments, questions? Let's see. I'm not seeing any questions that I didn't already answer on here. Hopefully you guys are ready for the weekend. It's the weather in Nevada has been kind of crazy this week. It's been a little cold and windy and rainy. Hopefully it clears up and everybody can have a wonderful sunny weekend. If you have any other questions, you can always direct message me. You can always post on our social media pages. We'd be glad to be involved in answering your questions however we can. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.